We will call to order the regular board meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Marisol Hernandez. I'm the chair. And with me today is Commissioner Jonathan Swain.
Present.
And Commissioner William Cressy.
Also present.
Thank you. Next item is the consideration of the agenda. Any proposed changes? If not, we will proceed with the approval of the regular board meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2021. Motion?
So moved by Commissioner Swain.
Second?
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Commissioner Swain votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and the minutes are approved. Thank you. Next item is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Holliday?
Morning, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. We're still in talks with the county about.
Charles, I hear an echo. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hear.
Trish, do you have are you near Charles? That might be creating the echo.
I'm near him, but I have my headphones and I'm muted.
Okay, so Charles, let's try one more time.
Okay. No, phone is off. I'll move.
Okay, no,
No,
you're good
I think
now.
you're better now.
You're okay now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can stay where you are, Charles.
Okay. All right. So as I stated, we're still in talks with the building about rental space here, as well as we're still waiting on the city and ASI about when the repairs are going to begin at the warehouse. As you know, when we got the rain, some places got some water and some damage, documents got damaged. So we're really pressing them to get this work started. We met with our ADA team with the Equip for Equality and the DOJ's office on our continued work on surveys of polling places and working to bring them into compliance by the November 2022 date. We're on schedule with our city budget for 2022 to be turned in on Friday, July 16th. Today, I will be participating with a tabletop to vote exercise. This exercise is to identify best practices and areas for improvement in elections, incident planning, responses, and recovery through a simulation of realistic scenarios. So that'll be today for about 3 hours. That will be going on. On Thursday, I will be traveling to New York this week to attend the 4th annual session of IGO, the International Association of Election Officials. I will give a report at the next board meeting on any election administrations that may have take place there. We are nearing the completion of our warehouse project, which our Assistant Director, Sandra Spare, was heading, and Sean Simpson, we have him out there overseeing the project as well. Our Assistant Director, Sandra, along with our HR Manager, Lucretia Dandridge, we're reviewing employee evaluations. And so that's it at this time, Madam Chair. Sandra is not present today because of the death of her sister. Our prayers and thoughts are with her and her family.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions of Mr. Holliday? If not, we will proceed. Thank you, Mr. Holliday. We will proceed with old business, old infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, voting equipment. Is there anything new, Mr. Holliday?
Nothing new, Madam Chair.
How about
only that-
with, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, and electronic poll books, I was going to say.
Nothing with the poll books other than we're doing maintenance on them for our upcoming election, which we may have to do 2 more times since the election has been pushed back to June 28th. So we are through our first maintenance on them, and then we will do another one towards the end of the year.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Lasker, is there anything new on legislation?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, fellow commissioners. Not much new. What we've been watching now is the elected school board bill. We know it's passed both houses, but still has not been sent to the governor. There was a motion to consider that was filed in the middle of June against the two votes on the two amendments to those to that bill, House Bill 2908. The last action was that the motions to reconsider were withdrawn on June 30th, but that is still the last action. So a delay in sending that to the governor still, and we'll continue to monitor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will proceed with new business. We have one contract for consideration, and it is renewal of the A&E Data Solutions contract for support and maintenance. Is there anyone who would like to speak to that particular contract?
Well,
Okay,
Madam Chair, let me just start quickly, Mr. Holliday, by saying that the prior contracts, this is for website services, as you know. The board's been working with A&E Data for a while. The prior contract did allow for a renewal with the same terms. And so the terms of this contract have not changed from the last one in terms of the rate of pay and so forth. Of course, the last contract included a separate provision for new development that was required due to the coronavirus pandemic and expansions to vote by mail. Those new developments, of course, have been completed, so those are not included now in this current contract, which incorporates ongoing maintenance and support for all the same systems now. Thank you.
And I was going to mention the same, Madam Chair, and just also that A&E is working more closely with our IT department in our maintenance of our website.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to renew the contract with A&E Data Solutions for support and maintenance of the board's website, online vote by mail system, and other detailed services as set forth in the contract for the term July 13, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, in the amount of $4,000 per month, capped at $48,000 for the year. Is there a motion?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Is there a second?
Second by Commissioner Swain.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Swain votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is a legal report. Mr. Lasker, anything?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. I just wanted to touch on a recent Supreme Court case. That's a United States Supreme Court case out of Arizona. One of the things that it did is uphold a law on provisional ballots that's somewhat similar to what we already have here in Illinois. I know I received some questions from a commissioner about it, so I just thought I'd clarify Illinois' position on this kind of a law. What the Supreme Court did is it upheld a rule in Arizona that has ballots be discarded or not counted if they were cast in the wrong precinct. Illinois does have a similar law where if a ballot is intentionally cast in the wrong precinct as a provisional, it is rejected. What I want to point out about the Illinois law is that it requires a showing that it was intentional casting of the ballot in the wrong precinct. It requires, the law expressly requires the election judges in the precinct to inform the voter that the voter is in the wrong precinct. So they are someone who's either registered or they're someone who's coming in for same-day registration, but their address is outside of the precinct that they've appeared at. The election judges are required to inform that person either where their proper precinct is or to contact the election board's office or election central and find where their proper precinct is. Only in a situation where the person then refuses to go to the proper precinct would they vote a provisional in that precinct, and that provisional ballot would have to be rejected. So Illinois' law does have a pretty good stopgap in that in order for the ballot to be rejected, it has to be intentional voting in the wrong precinct after instructions from the election judges to go elsewhere. One of the nice things about the new legislation that's been allowing for our early voting sites or universal voting sites to stay open on election day is that a voter can go to any one of those locations even on election day now to vote no matter where they live. So that does make it easier for people. Our board's numbers of provisional ballots have been declining in recent years, at least that I've been with the board. So we're in pretty good shape. This won't have a big impact. We have very few of these ballots that do get rejected in every election. So we just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Adam, thank you. We had discussion by email on this earlier. One question, in that situation where a vote was cast, where it was unintentional, when they showed up and the judges didn't go through the proper procedures, they would just be given a ballot for that precinct and would be just put in the ballot box with the rest, right? They would, giving them a provisional ballot sort of indicates that they were notified that they were in the wrong precinct, correct?
Probably, but that can even be taken on a case-by-case basis through reports to Election Central, through conversations with the election judges. Clearly, if they're given a standard ballot, we wouldn't know which ballot to pull out of the box, right? Because of the secret ballot requirement. But even in the situation where they were to have cast a provisional, that can sometimes happen accidentally. Sometimes maybe the election judge just didn't notice and let it go through. In which case,
Go ahead.
I think what's important to note is that under the law, even if the ballot is counted, it is only counted for those offices on the ballot, for those races that are in the proper area for the person's address. So, for example, if they live in one state representative district but happen to vote from the precinct in a different state representative precinct, we might still count their vote for president because everybody gets to vote for that, but we wouldn't count that vote for the state senate that was cast in the wrong district.
What is the mechanics of it? Is the ballot in the provisional ballot envelope sent to the correct precinct, or it's sent to us and then we mark a new ballot, something like that?
Provisionals are supposed to be segregated out into a separate envelope. They are then handled through our post-election canvass procedures here at the board's offices, where the election judges will go through and determine where the person's address is, determine where, which districts, which voting districts the person properly lives in, and if needed, they will remake the ballot, filling in only those contests in which the person is eligible to vote, and then that's the ballot that would, the original would be spoiled, the remade ballot would be then counted with only the proper districts. And that's a part of the post-election canvass, open to public viewing with the poll watchers, and of course conducted by the election judges from both parties.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. If there are no further questions, Adam, does that conclude your report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. We have no financial report. Trish, do we have any public comment?
We don't have any requests for public comment.
Thank you.
Could I make a public comment? Can you hear me?
Yes, John, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I wasn't asked whether I wanted to make a public comment or not. I would just like to comment on what
Okay, go ahead.
On what Adam just said, the issue with that Arizona court case. Having been in the polls myself and seen this play out in reality, this is something that our election judges really need to be educated on, because many times I have seen where someone's been being given a provisional ballot and they have not been told that at least part of their ballot will not be counted. So that's something that the election judges definitely need to be educated on so that they can pass that information on to the voters. Many times I've been in the situation where I've stepped in and said, wait a minute, part of your ballot will not be counted, so you really should go to your proper precinct. Or as Adam said, to the ward early voting site. So this is something that really needs to be addressed in the Judge of Election handbook so that it's very clear, because many times I've seen the judges do not understand this process.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. I thank you for that. I would point out this is a part of the judge training, and it is in the handbook. But of course, for some judges, this might not ever happen after a long career, and then all of a sudden it happens. And so I'm sorry that Mr. Olson's experienced some issues with it, and we'll consider that as we prepare our election judge training for the next cycle.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Lasker, is there any need for executive session?
Not to my knowledge, thank you.
Okay. If not, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn to our next regularly scheduled board meeting on Tuesday, July 27th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Commissioner Swain.
And a second from Commissioner Cressy.
Probably moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Swain votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, very much, and have a great rest of the week.